Part 31. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 303. 301. He Tian saw that it was not long since he came in, so he took out a piece of cloth and 50 cents. Sister Lingli, I don't have anything good to give you. You can use this piece of cloth to make a new dress. This is my gift, he Tian said. I wish you a happy wedding. Lu Lingli's eyes lit up when she saw something. She was married and didn't have any new clothes. It was too hasty. The husband's family only provided food and drinks, and there was no money to give her clothes. As long as you escape this crisis and live a good life in the future, you will always have money to buy new clothes. Thank you, Tian. Lu Lingli thanked him. Although she was still a little jealous of He Tian, at this time, she was grateful to He Tian. Apart from being better than her in every aspect, He Tian has no other shortcomings. Lu Lingli sometimes knew that it was her own desire to compare that was causing trouble, but she just couldn't control it. You're welcome, He Tian smiled and said, the livestock team has a very heavy task. I have to go back. I will come see you when I have time. Tian, let's go there to eat together later, Lu Lingli persuaded. You gave me such a heavy gift, and I would be embarrassed if I didn't eat. Yes, He Tian, the older young man called Lu Xiaohuan and said. Seeing He Tian giving such a heavy gift, he immediately felt close to her. One more friend and one more path. Maybe if anything happens in the future, I will blame them on you. I remember that during the previous drought, Lu Lingli got a lot of water from He Tian to meet the urgent need. He Tian thought that her father was still waiting outside. It was so hot outside, so she refused. I really have something to do. The animal husbandry team has to do work almost every day. If I don't ask for leave, my work points will be deducted. If I want to eat, we will talk about it later. Lu Lingli saw that He Tian didn't want to eat here, so she didn't try to persuade him to stay, and said, okay, I'll treat you to dinner in person another day. Lu Lingli didn't want He Tian to see her in such a state of desolation that she wouldn't eat, which was exactly what she wanted. Goodbye, Sister Lingli, He Tian said. Goodbye, sisters. Goodbye. Everyone said goodbye to He Tian with a smile. Lu Lingli sent He Tian out, then turned back and waited for the groom's family to pick her up. He Tian walked to the entrance of the village and saw her father enjoying the cool under the uncle's ground. Why so fast? Aren't you eating there? He Jingyu said, a little curious. He Tian said, my dad hasn't eaten yet, how can I stay there? Let's leave quickly and go home for dinner. That's okay, He Jingyu said. By the way, you and this Lu Lingli have a normal relationship. Why do you give things away and give money back? If it were before, He Tian would either give 50 cents or a piece of cloth, but not both. However, after the previous deaths of Hu or Li and Guden, the clues were lost, and He Tian always felt that this matter had something to do with Lu Lingli. Giving something as a gift shows your closeness and will make things less awkward in the future. It's okay, I just think that since everyone is from Nanji, she is quite pitiful. Come and tell me in person, and I will send you some good things, He Tian said, looking very well intentioned. He Jingyu was a little speechless at his daughter's kind-hearted look, and said, it doesn't matter who you are in the same place, you have to be careful. You are so stupid, you can't be deceived by others with just a few words. Although the daughter did not tell her about her previous life, it can be seen from her sad eyes that she must have suffered a lot and endured a lot. He and his wife had the same idea. They would rather have their daughter be a scheming person who knows how to protect herself than a bad-hearted person. Yeah, I understand, Dad, He Tian nodded repeatedly. She knew her parents' painstaking efforts. There are just some things that she can't tell her parents. In fact, now their daughter has turned into a bonbon chocolate. It's mellow chocolate on the outside, and throat-sharp liquor on the inside. Back home, just in time for dinner. While taking a nap, the Snake King said slowly, He Tian Tian, can you be any more stupid? He Tian Tian sat up from the bed. She had not done anything to make the Snake King angry recently. She asked, Snake King, why did you say that to me? You want to know if Lu Lingli is the masked woman? Why don't you wake me up to read her memory? The Snake King had just woken up from training and knew that He Tian Tian was going to see Lu Lingli, so he asked. When He Tian Tian heard this, she suddenly felt stupid. Lu Lingli came here once, and she visited Hu Jiakan in person again. After 2 opportunities, He Tian Tian never thought of calling the Snake King. In a few days, will I find another excuse to go see Lu Lingli? He Tian Tian asked carefully. Hey, her parents came over, and most of her attention was on her parents and Grandma Chi-san. Plus, the Snake King has been very strange recently. She didn't want to bother with it. Result. If you don't succeed enough, you will fail more than you can, Snake King said arrogantly, I'm going to practice. Well, what you have done recently is indeed not domineering enough, He Tian Tian admitted, it's just that I see that you are very troubled and tired recently, and I don't want to trouble you with everything. The Snake King was arrogant and said, then when things get too big and can't be dealt with, you will ask me for help. He Tian Tian looked embarrassed and admitted her mistake, Snake King, I was wrong. He Tianation's attitude was very helpful to the Snake King, and he said, whenever you encounter something in the future, I hope you will think of me for the first time. Ah! Why does this sound a little wrong? Seeing He Tianation's suspicion, the Snake King said without hesitation, I just don't want people to pollute my holy blood, so don't think too much about it. Oh, He Tian Tian smiled, yes, it must be like this, I know, when encountering danger in the future, the first thing that comes to mind is the Snake King, is that okay? By the way, can you tell me now? What happened recently? The Snake King looked at his chubby, white, and tender little arms and legs in the space barrier, leaving 2 lines of hot tears. It's okay, I just miss home. The Snake King found a few excuses. But He Tian Tian believed such an excuse and said with emotion, yes, I will miss my parents if I don't see them for a long time. You must be the same. Let's work together to get through the thunderstorm as soon as possible, and you can go back as soon as possible home. Woo woo woo. Injured 10,000 points. He Tian Tian, this stupid girl, really believed it? This king is going to practice, the Snake King said sadly and stopped talking. Seeing that the Snake King's voice disappeared, He Tian Tian reflected on herself and thought that it might be the arrival of her parents and a family reunion that made the Snake King see it. In contrast, I feel sad. If there is a good way to help the Snake King cultivate, He Tian Tian will definitely try his best to get it. Quick travel strategy for torturing scumbags, sweet pet, 1v1, fixed male protagonist. Travel through the world, flirt with handsome guys, torture scumbags, learn skills in a refreshing mood, and collect mythical beasts easily and happily. It can be cute, it can be cool, and it can be even more awesome. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 304. 302. Just when He Tian Tian was looking for an excuse to go to Hujia village to meet Lu Lingli came to her door. Lu Lingli changed her hair from 2 braids to 1 braid and tied it behind her head. She was carrying a basket with 6 or 7 sugar cakes in it. Lu Lingli was followed by a young man, her husband, Hu Daimao. Hu Daimao followed his newlywed wife with 2 bottles of wine in his hand. When He Tian Tian came back from work, she saw Lu Lingli. Sister Lingli, why are you here? Is this my brother-in-law? He Tian Tian smiled and said, sit at home. He Tian Tian was talking to Lu Lingli on her face, but she was calling the Snake King in her heart. Gilo me. He Tian Tian said anxiously in her heart, Lu Lingli has delivered it to the door. The Snake King was practicing. Hearing He Tianatian's call, he woke up from practice and instantly read Lu Lingli's memory. After getting that information, the Snake King squinted his eyes and did not transmit the memory to He Tiantian immediately. Haha, there is a lot of interesting content in it. You should wait until Lu Lingli leaves before reading it. After the Snake King finished speaking, he continued to practice. He Tiantian was stunned for a moment, having a bad premonition in her heart, but at the same time she also felt the excitement of uncovering the conspiracy. This is Hu Daimao. I brought him to meet Uncle He, Lu Lingli said sheepishly. Hu Daimao is her husband after all, and she doesn't want to be alienated from He Tianatian's family because of her husband's family. In the past, Hu Daimao might have shown his impatience, but now that he has a wife, he has changed a bit. He Tiantian smiled and said, "You are too polite. My father is in the Daowen in the back mountain. It happens to be noon, so don't leave." Wang Shuping came out of the house and saw Lu Lingli coming, so she had to say hello and asked, "Lingli, please sit in the house." Lu Lingli smiled and said, "No, Aunt Wang, you are usually so tired and have to work in the afternoon, so we won't bother you. Send me something. These are sugar cookies I made by myself. Thank you for coming to my party wedding." Lu Lingli stopped and did not agree. Nowadays, people cook in large quantities. When the couple stayed to eat, He Tianatian's family didn't have enough to eat. Since she wanted to be on good terms with the He family, she would naturally not do such a blind thing. "That's so bad," Wang Shuping said. "Tian Tian, you say hello." She wanted to go into the house and look around to find something suitable as a return gift. Although she doesn't have a good impression of Lu Lingli, she still has to pay attention to her face. Wang Shuping arrived at the house, looked through it, and saw that there was an unopened bottle of malted milk at home, so she took it out. When Wang Shuping came out, Lu Lingli had already put the sugar cakes on the table. Wang Shuping put the malted milk into Lu Lingli's basket and said, "Lingli, auntie, there is no good stuff here. Take this malted milk home and drink it." When Hu Daimao saw that the He family was not enthusiastic, he thought that the sugar cakes sent by him were at a loss. Now when I see someone casually going in and taking out a bottle of malted milk, I feel like I've made a profit again. "Auntie, I just want to thank you." "How can I ask for your things?" Lu Lingli was embarrassed and said she wanted to take out the malted milk. Wang Shuping stopped her and said, "Okay, after all, we are from the same hometown. We have a lot of work today and don't have time to take care of the food. I already feel rude. If you don't return the gift, auntie will feel very sorry." Seeing what Wang Shuping said, Lu Lingli reluctantly accepted it and said with a smile, "Then I will accept it shamelessly and won't disturb you anymore. We will go back first. We will come to visit you another day when you are free." "Then you go slowly," Wang Shuping said politely, and she and her daughter sent the newlyweds out. After Lu Lingli left, He Tiantian couldn't wait to read Lu Lingli's memory and was stunned. "My biological mother." The content here is very exciting. First of all, the affair between Lu Lingli and accountant Hu was discovered, and they conspired to kill Hu or Li and Erguden. Secondly, Lu Lingli is pregnant, and the child belongs to accountant Hu. So that's the case. No wonder accountant Hu volunteered to take the blame. It turned out that he wanted to protect his own bloodline. Thirdly, Lu Lingli got married so soon to find a successor. She was right not to believe that Lu Lingli was not raped by Hu Daimao. She was clearly the one who took off her clothes and took a shower on the road that Hu Daimao must pass. For an unmarried man in his 20s, he is full of fantasies about women's bodies. There is no one around, so it would be strange not to do bad things. Finally, the masked woman is Lu Lingli. This is the most important clue that He Tiantian found in Lu Lingli's memory. She had guessed before that it might be Lu Lingli, but she didn't expect it to be true. But there was no big grudge between her and Lu Lingli, and she even helped Lu Lingli several times. Why is this woman so ungrateful? He Tian continued to read the memory, dumbfounded. He Tian finally understood that Lu Lingli's jealousy towards her never stopped. At the same time, in Lu Lingli's memory, a few months ago, when Lu Lingli was hungry and cold, she received a letter with only a few words in it. As long as she followed the content of the letter, she would be given money. If she does well, arrange a job for her in the county. Lu Lingli didn't take it seriously at first, but it wasn't until she received 30 yuan that she was tempted. She didn't dare to go, so she went to see Hu Orli with her face covered, gave him money and let him go. Unexpectedly it failed. Then Hu Orli discovered her affair with accountant Hu, and then killed her. Until a few days ago when she got married, she found a letter in her box, which told her to get close to He Tian, and gave her a packet of medicinal powder to put in the meals of the He family. If she doesn't comply, report her affair with accountant Hu. If the police investigate, they will definitely catch her if they follow the clues. Lu Lingli was very conflicted and uneasy, but also a little lucky. At first she wanted the money to do some destructive things, and even if she was caught, nothing would happen. Later, things got out of hand and she regretted it. Fortunately, she had a baby, and accountant who was considered a responsible man and took the blame. But just when Lu Lingli felt calm, the man behind the scenes actually came out to threaten her again. This packet of medicinal powder? Is it poison? Lu Lingli was very scared, but she was also afraid of the threat from that person secretly. So Lu Lingli poured some medicinal powder and gave it to the dog at home. She found that the dog was not dead, but just became listless. This situation had been going on for several days, and Lu Lingli felt relieved. She made sugar cakes and delivered them to He Tian. As long as she was not poisoned immediately, she should not be found after several days. Lu Lingli comforted herself in her heart. After reading this, He Tian saw her mother bringing the pancake to the table, and hurried over, put the pancake away, and said, "This pancake cannot be eaten." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 305. 303. Grandma Chi-san, Wang Shuping looked at He Tian very puzzled. Why can't you eat it? Wang Shuping asked. Not to mention, the sugar cakes made by Lu Lingli look good and should taste delicious. Yes, the person who can make such pancakes must be a girl with skillful hands, Grandma Chi-san also praised. He Tian was so anxious, they had no idea how sinister Lu Lingli was. She knew all this from the Snake King, and she didn't know how to explain it. I once heard Lu Lingli say bad things about me behind my back, and said she was jealous of me more than once. People are so different from each other, who knows if Lu Lingli would poison these sugar cakes, He Tian said. She said these are all facts and there is no false accusation against Lu Lingli. Grandma Chi-san frowned and said nothing. Wang Shuping couldn't help but smile bitterly after hearing this. She obviously didn't believe it. Are you thinking too much? It's all a little girl's comparison mentality. Then Lu Lingli is not a child, can she really do something like poisoning? Mom, you told me before that you have to be careful. Food is nothing else. If there is something wrong with it, it will be harmful to the body even if it is vomited out, He Tian said anxiously. Have you forgotten as soon as the peach garden was finished, someone came to cause trouble? Although Hu Orli and Hu Gaodan were dead, think about it. The peach garden was empty and there were no peaches. Why did these second-rate people come to destroy the peach garden? Wang Shuping was startled and nodded. Yes, your father and I have never been able to figure it out. Since you can't figure it out, there must be something fishy. The key is what a coincidence. Those two people are dead. How can there be so many coincidences in the world? So I always feel that the person who wants to harm us is still there, but we don't know it yet. Who is it? But we have no enmity with Lu Lingli. Wang Shuping didn't believe it. At this time, Grandma Chi-san slowly said, "Shuping, we still won't eat this cake." Adoptive mother, you have the same thoughts as a sweet child. Wang Shuping didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She didn't expect that even her adoptive mother would say this. "Be careful and you won't make a big mistake," Grandma Chi-san said. "I remember when I was a child, my father's friend once brought our family a Western chocolate cake bought from the Shanghai market. At that time, my father had a doting concubine, and the cake was snatched away. It was my father's birthday, so I spent his birthday at that concubine's place and ate some cakes. Unexpectedly, when I woke up, my father and his beloved concubine were tied to the mountain. The kidnappers kidnapped my father's friend's son and he had no money to ransom him, so he thought of this method and participated in kidnapping my father." Wang Shuping was stunned. Her daughter was still young and she might not believe what she said, but Grandma Chi-san was an elder and had personal experience, which made her change her previous persistence. "Then don't eat it," Wang Shuping said, "you must be on guard against others." Tian held a few pieces of sugar cake and went to the backyard. "Tian, what are you doing?" Wang Shuping was puzzled. "If you don't want to eat it, just throw it away. I'll break a piece of cake first and give it to a chicken to see if there is anything wrong with the cake." After Tian finished speaking, he went to the backyard, tore the sugar cake into small pieces and placed it in a separate chicken cage. Then picked up the rooster and put it into the chicken cage. "Wrap the rest and keep it as evidence." Tian washed her hands before coming over to eat. Wang Shuping didn't take it to heart. After eating and resting for a while, she went up the mountain with Tian. Grandma Chi-san, who was always at home, would go for a walk in the backyard when she had nothing to do. In the afternoon, she found that the domineering big rooster at home was limp, as if it hadn't woken up. The big rooster was placed alone, and there was a little bit of cake crumbs in the cage. The big rooster ate the big cake. "Is it really a problem with the pie?" Grandma Chi-san took a small wooden stick and poked the big rooster a few times. The big rooster immediately became energetic. Grandma Chi-san was slightly relieved when she saw this. Although she was also on guard, she still didn't want this to happen. At night, Tian tore off half a piece of cake and gave it to the big rooster. The next morning, when the rooster crowed, Tian and Grandma Chi-san could tell that the big rooster's voice was not as loud as before. Tian feeds the big rooster 3 times a day with sugar cakes. On the morning of the 3rd day, the big rooster's voice was obviously lowered by 1 degree, and he had no strength. Only when he poked it with a wooden stick could the big rooster jump up, but not very high. "There is something wrong with this cake." Grandma Chi-san, Jingyu, and Wang Shuping all saw it. "Shuping, is there something wrong with this cake?" Grandma Chi-san said dubiously. "I have raised this big rooster for several years and it is the strongest. It will not be like this for no reason." Wang Shuping was also frightened for a while, and said, "Yes, if Tian hadn't thought too much that day, we would have eaten those few pieces of cake, and now we are the ones who are sick. But I don't understand, could a little girl just be jealous? You dare to do something like poisoning." Wang Shuping couldn't understand why Lu Lingli was so vicious. "Who knows what that little girl was thinking," Grandma Chi-san said, "maybe she was instigated by someone else." Grandma Chi-san's words made Tian think more. There is indeed someone who is in charge of Lu Lingli, but who is this person? Tian couldn't think of anything even after racking her brain. Who would do such a murderous thing? This is simply an endless rhythm. Jingyu thought for a while and said, "Let's do this. Don't alert the snake first. Go to Hawaii City tomorrow and bring this cake to Kailing privately and ask him to help find out what is in this cake." "Well, that's fine," Wang Shuping nodded, "we'll find out first and then report the case." Grandma Chi-san looked at the rooster and said, Jingyu, take this rooster with you and check it together to see what poisonous effects those medicines have. Yes, adoptive mother, I will take you there with me, Jingyu said, Shuping, you don't want to go to the back mountain during the few days I'm gone. Tian Tian, you go to work in the animal husbandry team and you have to be with other people. Cannot act alone. Although his daughter was better than he thought, Jingyu couldn't help but explain. I know, Dad, Tian Tian agreed. Early the next morning, Jingyu took the pieces of pancakes and the big rooster, borrowed Secretary Chi's bicycle, went to the county seat, and then took a bus to Hawaii City. Chi Ling saw Jingyu and came to greet him personally. Uncle do you have anything to do when you come to Hawaii City? Chi Ling knew that Jingyu had always taken care of everything in the Daowin experimental field in Kijia village. Jingyu would not leave there unless there was something important. Recommended by friends are Heiau Farming, Reborn Soul Wisdom and Baomei is not easy to deal with, all of which are completed novels. There will be 6 more updates tomorrow. Please reward me and subscribe to the official version. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 306. 304. Jingyu felt a little embarrassed when he saw people coming and going around him. Chi Ling observed the words and said quickly, Uncle come to my office and talk. There are many people here, so it's hard to talk. Thank you. Jingyu thanked him, saying that it would not be disclosed until he found out what kind of poison it was. Chi Ling and Jingyu came to Chi Ling's office one after the other. Chi Ling let Jingyu go over first, closed the door with his own hands, and said, Uncle can you tell me? What happened? Jingyu took out 2 hardened sugar cakes from the package and said, Kai Ling, look, this is sent to us by Aquanlu Lingli, a young man from Hujiakan. She and we are both. She is from Nanchi, but her relationship with our family can only be described as average. Some time ago, she got married and asked my daughter to have a wedding banquet. My daughter gave her gifts and money but did not eat there. She gave her a few days after the wedding. We brought a few pieces of cake. Unexpectedly, the big rooster at home became wilted after eating a few bites of the cake. I didn't dare to let them eat the cake, so I used it. After feeding the big rooster with big cakes for 2 or 3 days, this strong rooster became what it is now. Jingyu opened a cardboard box next to him, and inside there was a big, sick, and listless rooster. As soon as Chi Ling heard the 3 words Hujiakan, he felt energetic. Although accountant who had pleaded guilty to the murders of Hu Orlii and Hu Gaodan and admitted that he had done it himself, Chi Ling always felt that something was fishy, but without evidence, he had no choice but to give up. Now there's another problem with the Hu family, and it's still poisoning. If the poisoning can be confirmed, he can go to Hujia village to investigate the case. Uncle put the things here. I will take them to the laboratory department later and ask my colleagues to help with the tests. If there are any problems, report it to the police, Chi Ling suggested. In case the big rooster is just sick, put it in the cake and there is nothing, and reporting the crime indiscriminately will have a bad impact on Jingyu. Jingyu nodded and said, okay, but how long will it take? If the time is short, I will wait here. If the time is long, then I will go back to Kijia village first. Uncle you go home and rest first. I'll ask my colleagues. After get off work in the evening, I'll go to your house and tell you the specific time in person, Chi Ling suggested. His home was in the same community as Jingyu, not far away. Okay, I'll wait for you at home, Jingyu said, exchanged a few words and left. Chi Ling took the thing to the laboratory department, and after asking his colleagues, they also said that it would take a week to detect it. Chi Ling left the things there and asked his colleagues in the laboratory department to get the results as soon as possible. In the evening, Chi Ling went to tell Jingyu the specific date. Since it's only a week, then come back in a week, Jingyu said. There is still something going on in Kijia village. Uncle He, if there is any problem with the results, I will take someone over to investigate. Chi Ling said, you don't have to go to the trouble. Chi Ling was so anxious because he wanted to go to Hujiakan again to investigate the case. When He Jingyu heard this, he was overjoyed and said, that would be even better. It takes 2 days to go back and forth, which is very tiring. He Jingyu rested for the night and took a bus back to Daowen County early the next morning. Then he went to Niu Lily's place to ride a bicycle back to Kijia village. Wang Shuping has been a little worried these days. She always feels that someone is trying to harm them and she doesn't feel safe. He Tian asked her mother to stay at home and not let her go to Daowen. Anyway, Daowen is guarded by people arranged by village chief Chi, so nothing will happen. Let's say that Lu Lingli became restless after sending out the sugar cakes. In fact, she was very conflicted in her heart. She knew that the person in the dark had been taking advantage of her. But she couldn't refuse again and again. She has already killed 2 people. Sometimes when she dreams at night, she dreams of Hu Orlei and Hu Gaodan asking for her life. De Mao, is this dog sick? It has been wilting all day, old man Hu asked his son. If it is not sick, then kill it and still eat some meat. Hu Damao hadn't eaten meat for a long time, and he was already a little greedy. He said, it's probably not sick. I don't care, just kill and eat meat. Lu Lingli was sitting in the room and looked out of the window to see the interaction between old man Hu and Hu Damao. In fact, Lu Lingli was disgusted with them and their poverty. She wished they were dead and out of sight. However, if the father and son get sick, she will have to take care of them in the future. If they died, she would be relieved, but what would she do in Hujiakan in the future? She was already looked down upon by others, but she became even more looked down upon as a widow. At least now Hu Damao and old man Hu, working hard, can always have enough to eat, not starve to death, and can give their children a home. You can't eat it. Thinking of this, Lu Lingli stopped him. The dog must be sick. Kill it and bury it quickly. Otherwise, if the infection spreads to you, our whole family will not be able to run away. This dog was used by Lu Lingli as an experiment. The dog must be poisonous, and eating its meat would lead to poisoning. No way, Hu Damao couldn't bear to part with it. I haven't seen anyone's dog suffer from plague recently. Don't believe it, rabies is very scary. Lu Lingli said, if you don't eat meat, you won't die. But if you eat a sick dog, you won't be far away from death. Seeing that the educated youth's daughter-in-law said this, old man Hu thought it made sense and urged his son, De Mao, bury that dog quickly. If you are greedy, I will go to the river to catch some fish later and make it for you and me. Your wife eats it? Hu Damao was reluctant. Don't believe it. Before liberation, he caused disaster and ate a sick dog and became a madman. Old man Hu was worried that his son would be disobedient, so he frightened his son and said, besides, we are not starving to death now, so what are we doing? It's an adventure. Forget it, let me bury it. Old man Hu got the dog into the basket, jumped out and buried it. Lu Lingli breathed a sigh of relief when she saw her father-in-law got the dog away. Hu Damao had nothing to do at home, so he went out for a walk. Lu Lingli was alone at home, and her thoughts returned to He Tian. Did they eat those flatbreads? Could it be the same as the dog at home? You can't die, but you will be poisoned and weak. The more Lu Lingli thought about it, the more uneasy she became. She got up and walked to the door, but felt guilty and walked back. How to do it? The final decision was to forget it. Do your best to obey fate. Lu Lingli has also been searching recently. Who put the letter in her box? Who is this mastermind? Why do they harm He Tian's family again and again? Lu Lingli recalled what happened to He Tian one by one. The first one is that Qi Jiangguo attempted to rape He Tian. The second thing is that Qi Shulai made things difficult for He Tian. The third incident was that Lin Ziru reported He Tian. The most likely person is Chi Jiangguo's family, but Chi Jiangguo went to the labor camp, and the Chi family's situation is not good, so they simply can't afford so much money. I recommend the books The Good Prince Consort of the Tang Dynasty, Rebirth of Landscape Family, Heirloom, and Double Happiness by my friend Tian King Dai Bai, all of which are completed books. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 307. 305. Chi Shulai, this old fox doesn't even know how to do this. Lin Ziru, although she has such a heart, she probably doesn't have the courage. She broke her leg and is still lying on the bed. Moreover, Lin Ziru's usual clothes were no better than hers, and she couldn't afford so much money. Lu Lingli thought for a long time, not knowing who was targeting He Tian. Besides, He Tian from Qijia village has often asked the Snake King to read Lu Lingli's memories since her father He Jingyu went to Huai City. At night, He Tian was also surprised. It turns out that Lu Lingli didn't even know who the person behind it was. At the same time, those sugar cookies were really poisonous, and she even used an old dog at home as an experiment. It was proven that no one would die immediately, so the poison was put into the cake. Lu Lingli, you vicious woman. My conscience was eaten by a dog. Just like a fable I heard before, the farmer and the snake, he saved her, but ended up being bitten by her and died of poisoning. After He Jingyu came back, he told them that the results would not be available until a week later. He Tian already knows the result. She is very conflicted now, because she knows that Lu Lingli has been captured, but Lu Lingli doesn't know who that person is. But He Tian couldn't swallow this breath without catching her. He Tian thinks that she treats Lu Lingli well, and she doesn't want Lu Lingli to treat her the same way, but she doesn't want Lu Lingli to poison her either. This is a life-threatening matter, not a petty jealousy among little girls. It is also beneficial to keep Lu Lingli first. You can observe Lu Lingli at any time. Who is the person behind Cha-Cha? But in this case, she didn't know how to convince her parents. This was one aspect. At the same time, when that person found out that his family was not poisoned by poison, he would definitely become suspicious and stop contacting Lu Lingli. This is also possible. Very contradictory. Finally, my father had gone to find Kailing. Once it is found that there is something in the pie, Qi Ling will definitely come to investigate. In this case, you can't hide it even if you want to. In this case, let the police handle it. Lu Lingli herself and accountant who conspired to murder. They had already committed a crime. It was normal for the police to arrest her. He Tian didn't think about these things anymore and was busy with the work of the livestock team. In the livestock team, a dozen pigs have grown to 1,780 kilograms, and by the end of the year, they are expected to grow to 200 to 300 kilograms. 8 cows, a few sheep, and 8 or 9 deer. The original 2 deer were captured, and when they were taken out to eat grass, they broke free of the rope and ran away. At first, everyone felt it was a pity, but this was not part of the mission, and after running away, everyone didn't take it to heart. However, a few days later, 7 deer were brought back, adding to the original 2, a total of 9. The team grew several times, making everyone ecstatic. So the livestock team just raised the deer free range. They went to the mountains to eat during the day and came back at night, which was very convenient. But a dozen pigs are no good. They need a lot of vegetables every day, and they also need to prepare fodder for the winter. He Tian is busy every day, but at the same time she is on guard. The situation on Huo Yingji's side was no better than that on He Tianatian's side. They were equally busy and suffered major setbacks. Bang! A loud noise came from the laboratory where Huo Yingji was located. Be careful, Huo Yingji shouted, quickly grabbed Tang Xinliang next to him, stepped back, and ran out. The laboratory was filled with sparks, crackles, and explosions. Qian Miao Miao followed closely, but Zhou Yuanchao did not come out. Where is Zhou Yuanchao? Huo Yingzhe asked Qian Miao Miao hurriedly. The two of them were partners and stood together. Inside, inside. Qian Miao Miao was trembling with fear and pointed inside. Huo Yingzhe was stunned, took a deep breath, opened the door and went in. Boss. Tang Xinliang and Qian Miao Miao behind them reached out to pull Huo Yingzhe, but they were still a step too late. Huo Yingzhe was very fast and had already entered the laboratory. Huo Yingzhe came in, and there was a lot of smoke inside. Just when Huo Yingzhe couldn't hold it in anymore, the little spin turtle transformed into a barrier, blocking the smoke outside. Master, don't be afraid, I'm here, little spin turtle reminded. That big guy Zhou is in the northeast corner. Thank you, little spinner, Huo Yingzhe said gratefully. He had rushed in and acted on his own will. Once inside, if he couldn't find Zhou Yuanchao and drag him out within a short period of time, he would have fallen to the ground because of the smoke. Not long after Huo Yingzhe entered, firefighters rushed over. Because situations like this often occur in the test area, firefighters are on standby at any time and come immediately when they hear the siren. Who is inside? The fire officers and soldiers asked, and the people behind began to pretend to open the fire hydrants and prepare to put out the fire. Our bosses Huo Yingzhe and Zhou Yuanchao are both inside, Qian Miao Miao said hurriedly, save the boss quickly. By the way, there should be oily liquid on fire inside. You can't put out the fire with water. The officers and soldiers in the back who were fully armed and carrying dry powder immediately rushed in and sprayed the areas with fire. Huo Yingzhe groped around, and under the guidance of the little turtle, he found Zhou Yuanchao who was unconscious on the ground, carried him on his back and walked out. But as soon as he took a few steps, he was sprayed with dry powder all over his face. The officers and soldiers saw someone in front of them, so they avoided it. Huo Yingzhe carried Zhou Yuanchao on his back and walked out with difficulty. Boss, you finally came out, what happened to Zhou Yuanchao? Tang Xinliang asked. Qian Miao Miao also ran over to see the situation. I will send the aide to the hospital. You guys will watch here and cooperate with the organizational inspection later to find out what went wrong, Huo Yingzhe said in a deep voice. The experiment had reached a critical period and such a situation occurred. Huo Yingzhe said Yingzhe was caught off guard and was in chaos. Now that he was fine, Huo Yingzhe thought about why such an accident happened. By the way, you must cooperate with the inspection personnel and keep confidentiality, Huo Yingzhe said to Qian Miao Miao, no one else is allowed to approach our laboratory. Tang Xinliang knew that at this time, he and Miao Miao couldn't stand it anymore and had to let the boss stay. Boss, I'll take Zhou Yuanchao to the hospital, but you should stay here. Tang Xinliang suggested that only the boss can stabilize the current situation. Huo Yingzhe thought about it, nodded and said, okay, take Zhou Yuanchao to the hospital as soon as possible. Don't worry about here, just have me here. Just now he was too concerned about Zhou Yuanchao and forgot about Tang Xinliang. Qian Miao Miao was too young to handle it. At this time, the firefighters brought a stretcher and sent Zhou Yuanchao with Tang Xinliang. Huo Yingzhe watched as the smoke coming from the experiment became smaller, and his expression became more solemn. All experimental materials were calculated by him personally, without any problems. But now that such a problem has arisen, Huo Yingzhe is very puzzled. Boss, what should we do? Qian Miao Miao burst into tears. Our information is all in there. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 308. 306. Huo Yingzhe smiled. Qian Miao Miao was thinking about the information, not the upcoming investigation, which shows that Qian Miao Miao is a good comrade who is dedicated to scientific research. Don't be afraid, I'm here, Huo Yingji comforted Qian Miao Miao, as long as the person is fine, it doesn't matter if the information is gone, it's all in your head. Qian Miao Miao, who was choking, felt relieved after hearing the boss's words. Yes, as long as the people are there, the information is there. However, this accident was too sudden and was not expected before. Boss, the explosion started from Zhou Yuanchao. I don't know what materials he put inside to cause such a thing to happen, Qian Miao Miao said, but Zhou Yuanchao is usually a rough guy, but when he was working, he was very be serious and don't make stupid mistakes like getting the wrong materials. Huo Yingji nodded and said, yes, I believe in Zhou Yuanchao too. Just as he was talking, Mr. Sun came over. When he saw Huo Yingji, he breathed a sigh of relief and asked, where are the others? Tang Xinliang has sent Zhou Yuanchao to the hospital. I'll wait here for the organizational review, Huo Yingji said. Several people followed Mr. Sun, including Director Hua. Director Hua stepped forward and said politely, according to confidentiality requirements, you are the person in charge of this project and must assist in the investigation just like we did when we returned. Obey the organization's decision, Huo Yingji nodded without making any distinction. Huo Yingji looked at Chief Engineer Sun and the other staff, bowed and said, thank you for your hard work, everyone. Boss. Qian Miao Miao said excitedly, this is an accident. Whether it was an accident, we will investigate, Director Hua said, this is the rule of the institute, and no one can make an exception. Huo Yingji comforted Qian Miao Miao with his eyes, and Mr. Sun said, you should know the discipline and cooperate with the organization's investigation outside. Don't cry and cry. Trust the organization in everything. Yes, Qian Miao Miao burst into tears, her round face covered with black dust, and 2 lines of tears left 2 traces, I will. Director Hua took Huo Yingji away and disappeared into the corridor of the laboratory. Qian Miao Miao couldn't bear it anymore and burst into tears. General Manager Sun patted Qian Miao Miao on the shoulder and said, Comrade Qian, don't cry. The organization will make a correct judgment for Comrade Huo. Apart from him, only Director Hua understood the importance and danger of Huo Yingji's experiment. No one wants accidents, but things often backfire. Qian Miao Miao wiped her tears, her face became more gray, like a little cat, she nodded and said, it's useless to cry, I must help the boss, I hope he can come out soon. General Engineer Sun personally supervised the inspection personnel and checked the conditions inside to ensure that no one would tamper with them. Qian Miao Miao and Tang Xinliang were also taken to the interview room for questioning about the situation that day. At night, Huo Yingji was relieved in the detention center when he heard Director Hua say that Zhou Yuanchao had woken up and was out of danger. Comrade Huo, please don't be offended. We are doing this to protect our comrades. Director Hua came over personally to talk to Huo Yingji. In the research institute, you and I, as well as General Engineer Sun, are the only ones who know about your mission. Importance. Yes, when I accepted this task, Mr. Sun made a special statement. I arrange 3 assistants according to the experimental procedures every day. There is nothing wrong with it. I don't know why there was an explosion. Huo Yingji frowned. He said, he has been more careful. Director Hua nodded. He didn't believe Huo Yingji would deliberately cause an explosion. Now there are 3 possibilities. First, there is an operational error. Second, there is a problem with the materials. Third, and what we least want to see, there is a problem with the people. Director Hua said in a deep voice. General Manager Sun personally led people to supervise test, I believe the results will be available soon. Director Hua took out a pack of cigarettes, handed one to Huo Yingji, and said, here, smoke one. Huo Yingji shook his head. He didn't smoke. But now after shaking his head, he stretched out his hand and said, then let me smoke one. Director Hua threw over a box of matches and asked Huo Yingja to light his cigarette. Huo Yingja lit the cigarette and took a puff. His mouth and trachea couldn't stand the pungent smell of the tobacco. Cough, cough, cough. Huo Yingja kept coughing and put down the cigarette he had taken a puff of. Hey, smoking can't reduce my worries, so I won't smoke anymore. Director Hua smiled and said, Men, how can I not smoke? There are a lot of men who don't smoke. Huo Yingja said, drinking is good for your health, but smoking is not good at all. Director Hua seemed to be chatting with Huo Yingja, and the atmosphere was harmonious. In fact, when I was young, I did most of my work underground, and I had a very good understanding of human psychology. He used to rely on chatting with others, observing their expressions and movements, and judging their psychology. Now chatting, Director Hua was also observing Huo Yingja and found no problems. Yugong, this is Huo Yingja's job. If he does it well, he can become the youngest scientist in the country, and he is also the kind of self-taught, which can be called a genius. Privately, Huo Yingja was born in the Huo family of Yanjing, which is well known in Yanjing. He would never do anything that would disgrace his family or hold him back. About 2 hours later, at around 9 o'clock in the evening, Mr. Sun came. General Manager Sun, what's going on there? Director Hua asked, not avoiding Huo Yingja. Seeing that Director Hua didn't mind, Mr. Sun said, after Zhou Yuanchao woke up, I went to ask him personally. He said that the explosion would only occur when he put in a material called M. It's just that the material and the color of the M material, the density was almost the same, so he didn't notice anything wrong at the time. It was just that after putting it in the reaction vessel, the chemical reaction was far different from that of the real M material. But by the time he came to his senses, it was already too late, and he was stunned by the smoke. M material, Huo Yingja was stunned. He vaguely felt that Zhou Yuanchao had become a scapegoat. Yes, M material, Mr. Sun said, I sent someone to ask the material department, and the comrades in the material department clearly said that the material they were given before was M material. There were 3 people checking it at the time, and there would be no mistakes. These materials are yours. Qian Miao Miao from the team took it away. Qian Miao Miao also said that she took the materials directly to the laboratory without passing through anyone else's hands. Now we are checking who has been to your laboratory except you. It will be tomorrow. You can check it out. Huo Yingja didn't speak. He squinted his eyes and remained silent. Comrade Huo, what are you thinking about? Seeing that Huo Yingja was distracted, Director Hua and Chief Engineer Sun looked at each other and asked in a low voice. Huo Yingja rubbed his face with his hands and said, I'm sure this was a premeditated explosion aimed at me. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 309. 307. Director Hua and Engineer Sun were shocked when they heard this. Why do you say that? Director Hua asked hurriedly. Chief Engineer Sun is in charge of research. If something like this happens, Chief Engineer Sun only needs to bear a small part of the responsibility. However, he, who was responsible for protecting confidentiality, made such an omission. If the mastermind was not found, he would probably be kicked out. Now that I hear what Huo Yingja said, maybe I can find the mastermind. In that case, with better luck, I can also get away with it. Huo Yingja took a deep breath and wrote down, because the part that Zhou Yuanchao did was originally what I should do. But I still have important things at hand. After Zhou Yuanchao completed the task ahead of schedule, he helped me do that step before I arranged the task. If it wasn't for helping me, Zhou Yuanchao wouldn't have been hurt. Director Hua nodded and said, now from the exchange of materials to the experimental steps, this person knows your project very well. It seems that our research institute is going to face a major test. Can I ask, which step of your project is it? 2/3 of the work has been completed, And now we are finishing the work, Huo Yingji said. This project is very important. The three of us know that the sooner it is completed, the sooner it can be put into use. Most of the subsequent work is what I want to do is, if I die, this project will stagnate. Even if someone else changes, I won't be able to figure it out for a while, and I will only be able to figure out the next third. Know what to do. Huo Yingji thought about it and was afraid for a while. Those hostile saboteurs would use any means to achieve their goals. General Manager Sun rubbed his eyebrows and asked, Director Hua, what should we do now? Director Hua said seriously, it's time for our institute to conduct a major inspection. Big purge? It's full of blood when you hear it. However, if they don't investigate closely, the consequences will be even greater. I agree, General Engineer Sun nodded. Although he hates this, it must be like this at this time, otherwise the entire institute and all staff will be implicated, and the project in hand will be delayed due to stagnation. Then we will start from now on, Director Hua said. After such a long time of comfortable life, we can now use the previous methods. Seeing Director Hua's unpredictable smile, General Engineer Sun felt a chill in his heart, and reminded him, this is a research institute, not a labor camp. I believe that most of the comrades here are good. They work hard, are loyal, and have hope you can treat them well. Director Hua smiled and said, that's natural. We will not wrongly accuse a good comrade, but we will not let a bad person go either. That's the best, Chief Engineer Sun said. By the way, when can Comrade Huo's work resume? Director Hua thought for a while and said, for Comrade Huo's safety, he must continue to be here. After we find out, we will let Comrade Huo leave. Well, this is the best thing, Mr. Sun said. If those people see that Huo Yingji is not injured, they may do even crazier things. When Director Hua was about to leave, Huo Yingji remembered the precautions he had taken before, and now he could take advantage of the situation. Director Hua, Chief Engineer Sun, I have a way, maybe we can lure the snake out of the hole, Huo Yingji said. Now that he can't go out, the preparations he made before will be useless if he doesn't speak out. Of course, the little spin turtle is his secret weapon, and he will never tell it. Even if you say it, others won't believe it. Oh, Director Hua stopped. What can you do? Mr. Sun sat down again and said, you have a bright mind. Tell us and let us hear what good ideas you have. After Huo Yingji carefully organized his words, he said slowly, that person's target is me, but I am here now and cannot conduct experiments. Even if I am fine, most of their goals have been completed. Now I have completed most of them. We can claim to the outside world that by reorganizing a team and conducting research according to my ideas and the information left behind, the task will be completed soon. In this case, that person will definitely think that their task is not completed and they must do one thing. Director Hua and General Engineer Sun looked at each other and understood. Steal information, the two people said at the same time. Yes, there is a complete set of information in the safe, Huo Yingji said. As long as that person steals it, we have a chance to catch that person. Even if we don't catch him on the spot, I can use the equipment to find them. Good idea, Director Hua nodded. He used to do this kind of shady job. If he were that person, he would definitely steal the materials. By the way, I have a puzzle now. Why did you say that even if you couldn't catch the person, you could use the instrument to find the person? Director Hua asked, which made him very curious. Huo Yingji smiled and said, I made some special material myself, let's call it invisible paint. This kind of stuff, like air, is invisible to the naked eye when brushed on things. Professional instruments must be used to detect it. At that time, I thought the safe was very important, so I painted a layer of this invisible paint on the safe. There was this invisible paint on the ground within 1 meter around the safe. If someone touched my safe, even if they wore gloves, it would be on their shoes. If you can't find that person after doing this, I really don't know how to catch that person. Invisible paint, Mr. Sun's eyes widened. If it has such a function, can it be painted on the aircraft? Wouldn't that make it an invisible aircraft? Now it was Huo Yingji's turn, and Director Hua was stunned. While thinking about how to catch the traitor, Mr. Sun's mind jumped and he reached the invisible plane. Stealth aircraft can't be built with just a little paint. Radar technology is also key. It has other uses, Huo Yingji said with a wry smile. We'll talk about it after we catch the spies. Yes, Mr. Sun, Director Hua said, we will talk about other things after the matter is over. Mr. Sun smiled coquettishly. He is a workaholic. Whenever you encounter work-related information, you will think of research. This is an occupational disease and cannot be cured. Haha, let's talk about it later, Mr. Sun said, recording in his heart. Last time I went to Yanjing to attend a weapons research conference, some people suggested that foreign stealth aircraft were mature and put into use. But here, the technological foundation is poor, the investment is not much, and there has been no progress. Even if this material doesn't work, it can still scare those people if it is put on the plane and carried out the mission. At worst, if you use it once, you won't need it next time, so that those self-righteous big countries will not be able to figure out the true strength here, and then dare not act rashly. Asking for genuine subscription, asking for rewards, asking for monthly tickets carat. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 310. 308. Director Hua affirmed Huo Yingji's approach. Director Hua clapped his hands and said, I didn't expect that at such a young age, I would have such a strong sense of confidentiality. It was Chief Engineer Sun who reminded me that this is a secret. I didn't want to let those bad guys take advantage of it due to negligence. Huo Yingji smiled bitterly. It's just that I didn't expect that it would be used so soon. I understand. I will make arrangements for you to stay here for a few more days. Director Hua said, I have wronged you. Huo Yingji smiled and said, it's all for revival, it's not an grievance. Unknowingly, it was already 11 o'clock, and Mr. Sun showed fatigue on his face. Huo Yingji stepped forward with a smile and said, General Manager Sun, you are very tired. Go back and rest quickly. Let Director Hua do the searching for spies. They are professional. General Engineer Sun nodded and said, yes, I understand. Finally, I want to tell you that our scientific researchers work hard for national security and prosperity. Even if you are wronged for a moment, please don't complain. Director Hua was greatly touched by General Engineer Sun's words. At that time, for the sake of their ideals and revolutionary cause, they concealed their names and carried out dangerous tasks one after another. Some people are dead. Although some people are alive, they are not understood by the world because of their grievances. But they will only blame those who don't understand, but they will never hate the motherland. I won't. Huo Yingji smiled and said, I am innocent, and I also believe that the company recognizes my loyalty. Director Hua and Chief Engineer Sun were very satisfied, patted Huo Yingji on the shoulder, and left the detention center without saying anything. This is a one-bedroom room with a bathroom, kitchen, and food, just like an ordinary house. The only difference was that there were iron bars on the windows and 4 soldiers guarding the door. Huo Yingji went to the bathroom, took a shower, wiped his hair, and asked in his mind, Little Spin Turtle, do you know who did the hands and feet? The little Spin Turtle scratched his head and said embarrassedly, the scope is too large, I don't know, but I know that your 3 assistants are not spies. Oh, Huo Yingji breathed a sigh of relief, that's not bad. If there is a spy, Huo Yingji would rather hope that the spy is someone else, not someone close to him, someone who is emotionally invested. Zhou Yuanchao, Qian Miao, and Tang Xinliang were all loyal revolutionary comrades. He does not want his colleagues who fight side by side and share the joys and sorrows to be spies. In his heart, his colleagues can be trusted, and he is someone who can give his back to the other party on the battlefield. For the same reason, he trusted these people in the laboratory. "Master, don't worry, if someone touches that safe, I can detect it immediately," said the little spinner turtle. "I will know who that person is." Huo Yingzhi smiled and praised, "Thank you, little turtle. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to pass this level." "You're welcome, you are my master. Those people bully you, please bully me, little spin turtle," the little spin turtle said angrily. "Although I don't understand the countries, revolutions and stealth planes you are talking about, I understand the loyal meaning. My master treated me well and saved my life. He was my loyal partner until I disappeared from heaven and earth." Huo Yingzhi was very moved by the little turtle's milky voice and sweet words. The time spent with the little spin turtle made Huo Yingzhi very curious about the Changling god mentioned by the little spin turtle. What kind of person is he that can actually get such sincerity? "Little spin turtle, can you tell me about your master Changling god?" Huo Yingzhi asked softly. He didn't have time before, but now he doesn't need to work and can't sleep. He wants to know. Because for a while, Huo Yingzhi often dreamed. The back of a silver-haired man is walking between heaven and earth. Sometimes, play the flute in beautiful places. Sometimes, the flute on his back becomes a murderous and bloodthirsty weapon, invincible. Sometimes, a person stands on the top of the cliff, facing the wind. Sometimes, I miss someone. Thinking about it makes me frown and my heart hurts. Huo Yingzhi wanted to see the silver-haired man's face clearly, but he couldn't see clearly. He wanted to know who this man was thinking about, but he never knew. That's why I'm asking this question today. After hearing this, the little spin turtle quickly immersed himself in memories, thought for a while, and said, "My master Yeshu is facing the wind, and he is graceful." What follows is nearly 5 minutes of praise. Huo Yingzhi looked at such a little turtle, and for the first time he didn't laugh at it. Because he saw admiration in the little turtle's eyes. Those compliments were not a joke. An absolute love. Yes, it is love. Like the love for my father. The feelings are sincere, passionate, and unreserved. Huo Yingzhi held the little spin turtle in his hand and said, "Actually, your master is also happy to have a partner like you." After hearing this, the little spin turtle felt a little disappointed and said, "The master is not happy. I know he has always liked Fairy Yun, but he didn't tell her. When Fairy Yun got married, he wanted to steal the bride. This is too bloody." Huo Yingzhi was stunned and said, "Then your master is so stupid that he doesn't even know his own thoughts," and then, Fairy Yun and others knew that the master liked her, but she had already put on someone else's wedding dress and could not change it. But on the day Fairy Yun got married, there was a battle between gods and demons, and the master led the people of the gods to resist the demons, but those people the immortal was poisoned by Xiaoxian powder. Only the master did not drink because of jealousy and had full fighting power. The others were able to protect themselves. The master was surrounded by those demons and was about to be stabbed by the demon king's magic sword. At this time, Yun, the fairy, stood in front of her master and turned into stars and disappeared. Fairy Yun's soul was destroyed, and her master went crazy. He fought against the demons and killed the demon king. The demons retreated one after another without the demon king. The little spin turtle's eyes showed fear. At that time, he also wanted to save his master, but as soon as he appeared, he was kicked away by the devil. When I came back, I saw the owner covered in blood. The master at that time, his white clothes turned into blood clothes. The black and white eyes are like stars, full of blood-red killing. What happens next? Huo Yingzhi continued to ask. This is much better than a mythical novel. After that, I went into seclusion with my master. After his injury healed, he took me to travel around. At that time, I couldn't speak, and sometimes I couldn't even understand, so I didn't know what the master wanted to do, Xiao Xiao Suangi said, then looked at Huo Yingzhe. As for why the master became you, I'm also very curious. Huo Yingzhe saw that the little spin turtle was talking about him and said with a smile, I don't know why, but I have had several dreams, just like the scenes in the fairy world you mentioned. I think about it every day and dream about it at night. I always thought I was hearing something. I just dreamed of what you said before and didn't take it to heart, but I don't think so now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 311. 309. The master can remember the past, that would be great. The little spin turtle scratched his head, thought for a while, and said, Master, I guess it is because you have the memory of the past life, that's why you have such a dream. As long as we get along day and night, you will be able to remember the past sooner or later. I hope so. Huo Yingzhe smiled and said this because he couldn't bear the disappointment of the little turtle. He didn't want to have the memory of that ancient god, but he must remember the memory of his past life. Huo Yingzhe was sleepy and fell asleep. The little spin turtle loyally guards its master, protects him, and waits until his master wakes up. The next morning, I found out who had changed the M material. It turned out to be the janitor in charge of cleaning, and he said someone gave him $1,000 to do this. He had never met before. He always woke up early in the morning and saw a letter, money, and fake M materials on his windowsill. The man was taken into custody and questioning continued. Because of money, this person betrayed the institute. Even if he is not shot, he will be imprisoned for life. Outside, Qian Miao Miao and Tang Xinliang went to visit Zhou Yuanchao. Fortunately, the four of us are innocent, otherwise I would not be able to trust my colleagues in the future, Qian Miao Miao said. Several people have the same mood, it would be better if they are not, we can still trust each other in the future. Zhou Yuanchao smiled and said, we have all passed the political review and are loyal. But so did Uncle Hao, Qian Miao Miao said with emotion, for money, he did such a thing. Now Uncle Hao also said that he has never seen that person, and now the clues have been lost. This is not something we should worry about, Zhou Yuanchao said. By the way, how is the boss? Have you guys gone to see the boss? We went down yesterday to be examined. We went this morning, but the guards inside refused to let us out, Tang Xinliang replied, but we believe the boss is innocent. Once the matter is found out, he can come out. Boss, of course he is innocent, Zhou Yuanchao said firmly. When I recover from my injury, I think the boss will be able to come out. Actually, you don't need to be careful. I went to Mr. Sun and he said that he would not release the boss because he wanted to protect him, Qian Miao Miao said. This incident is probably aimed at the boss. You just happened to meet him. Zhou Yuanchao was stunned and said, oh my god, those people must be targeting the boss. The content I made yesterday originally belonged to the boss. I finished my own work ahead of schedule and went to help the boss. Yes, there is something wrong with the boss. This project has stalled, so. Qian Miao Miao looked at Zhou Yuanchao sympathetically. Fortunately, Zhou Yuanchao was thick-skinned and his life was not in danger. Zhou Yuanchao smiled and said nonchalantly, fortunately, it's me. If I were the boss, he wouldn't be as quick as me, and he would probably be injured more seriously. Qian Miao Miao admired Zhou Yuanchao in her heart and said, yes, no matter what, you are good. He. Zhou Yuanchao felt embarrassed at being praised. Okay, you go back and pay close attention to our project these 2 days. When the boss comes out, we will continue. Well, we understand, Tang Xinliang and Qian Miao Miao said at the same time. However, in the afternoon, Qian Miao Miao hurried over and said, Zhou Yuan Xiao, something big has happened. Our project has been restarted, but the person leading this project is not our boss. Ah, Zhou Yuan Xiao was anxious. Why don't you let the boss come out and continue completing this project? Are they doubting the boss? It seems so. Qian Miao Miao nodded, feeling uncomfortable. The fruits of their hard work were being picked by others. Such a rare project, without the boss, it probably won't work. Let's not get messed up for now, Zhou Yuan Xiao said, just wait a little longer. Why wait? That person has asked me and Tang Xinliang to arrive tomorrow and proceed based on the information in the boss's safe. Qian Miao Miao said, you also know the boss's habit. He will conduct a comprehensive theoretical analysis before conducting experiments. The experiments we usually do are all based on these experiments. Maybe someone else can actually complete this project if they get this information. Qian Miao Miao felt aggrieved. How could this be done? Zhou Yuan Xiao squinted his eyes, extremely angry, and said, they want to kill the donkey. Pick peaches. Zhou Yuan Xiao, now we can't see the boss. You are our backbone. What do you think we should do? Qian Miao Miao asked. Let's ask them to release the boss and let us continue the experiment. Zhou Yuan Xiao thought for a while and said, go to Mr. Sun, go see the boss, and ask the boss what is going on. Yeah, I'll try my best. Qian Miao Miao agreed and hurriedly went to find Mr. Sun. However, Mr. Sun was very busy and did not see Qian Miao Miao and Tang Xinliang. Qian Miao Miao and Tang Xinliang are also stubborn. They will not work until the boss is released. In the end, it was Chief Engineer Sun who came forward to persuade Director Hua to let them see Huo Yingjie. For the past 2 days, Huo Yingjie cooked and ate by himself inside, and his life was enjoyable, which was very different from the anxious atmosphere outside. Other scientific workers, while rejoicing, also felt sorry for Huo Yingjie. Having 2 good grades is also a sin. Regardless of hostile forces or pressure from above, you will be picked at any time and at any time. However, Mr. Sun is the most fair person and such a thing should not happen. But now that it has appeared, they are also in danger. When Qian Miao Miao and Tang Xinliang came in, they saw the boss cooking. Ah! Why are you here? Huo Yingjie smiled. Come on, have you eaten? If not, I will make more. They were so anxious outside that they got angry, but the boss was doing well, humming a tune and cooking at the same time. Boss, can you still eat it? Qian Miao Miao said angrily, don't you know there's chaos outside? Our project was immediately snatched away. Huo Yingjie took advantage of the break in cooking to pour a glass of water for the 2 of them and said, how can you be so angry at such a young age? Drink some water to reduce the heat. Tang Xinliang drank the water in one gulp and said, boss, now that the person who caused the sabotage has been found and has nothing to do with you, why don't they let you go and let us start working again? Are they doubting your mother? Huo Yingjie smiled and said, but the person who gave Uncle Hao the money has not been found yet and is still in the research institute. Don't you feel worried and scared? We are worried and scared. But that is the matter of the security department. Now the project has started again, and your leader is not you. You are still locked up here. How do you let outsiders think of you? Qian Miao Miao said excitedly. What to do? The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 312. 310. Qian Miao Miao disagreed and became excited again. However, Huo Yingjie was quite touched that such money was given to him as the boss. You continue to work under the new leader, and the achievements you make will still be yours, Huo Yingjie said. As for you, the boss, I will have many opportunities to make meritorious deeds in the future. Wu. Qian Miao Miao cried angrily, it's not fair, why is it like this? That was your plan, and they took it away like this. Tang Xinliang was also filled with indignation and felt that this should not be the case. Okay, Don't cry. Huo Yingji took out the handkerchief. Except for himself, He Tian had never used the handkerchief. Now that Qian Miao Miao is so protective of his leader, let's lend it to her. Qian Miao Miao took it, wiped her tears, and choked up, I don't want to participate in this project anymore. Me too, Tang Xinliang said, since they want to take over the fruits of our labor, then let's do it. It's too aggrieved for them to take over what we have done. Huo Yingji smiled, it was really rare. Okay, I'm telling you today, I hope you can keep it secret. Huo Yingji said, we are not doing things for anyone, but for the country. The sooner this project comes out and is put into use earlier, the sooner we can reduce our casualties. I hope you start from the greater good, not from our small group. But Qian Miao Miao was at a loss for words, but we. Miao Miao, Xinliang, you just listen to me once. We are for those soldiers, remember, Huo Yingji said, remember our mission. We are still young, and there are plenty of opportunities. They can pick them if they want, but I won't care. As people involved in the project, you can speed up the project by continuing to participate. After hearing this, Tang Xinliang nodded and said, Boss, I remember, we are here to reduce casualties, and we are here for the country. Boss, I promise you to. Qian Miao Miao said, we will go to work tomorrow. Huo Yingji nodded and said, that's right. Let Zhou Yuanchao have a good rest and tell him that this is my decision. If he is well and someone calls, let him go. Yeah, Qian Miao Miao and Tang Xinliang agreed. When the two of them left Huo Yingji's place, their eyes were red. The reason why Huo Yingji didn't tell them the specific situation was because he was worried that they were young and careless and would leak the secret. Wait until you catch the spy and then apologize to your subordinates. General Engineer Sun quickly mobilized a new project team. With the help of Tang Xinliang and Qian Miao Miao, the experiment was quickly launched. Almost everyone in the entire institute knows about this. Of course that person also knows. Huo Yingji is now locked up, which proves that the organization no longer trusts him, and there is no threat for the time being. If he does something in the future and puts the blame on Huo Yingji will never be able to recover. The most important thing now is the safe in Huo Yingji's office. The newly established project team can work normally in a short period of time based on the information in the safe. I heard that the results are pretty good. The results will be available in another month. Such a powerful thing cannot be put into use, otherwise it will become a big threat. In this case, the only option is to steal the information in the safe. As long as those materials are destroyed, the project will be shelved indefinitely. Just do what you say. This person takes advantage of the convenience of work and often comes in and out of the office area. Soon I got the key to Huo Yingji's office. As long as you enter the office, the safe is not difficult to find. Just like this, on a dark and windy night, everything was silent and very quiet. Taking advantage of the opportunity of being on duty, he easily approached Huo Yingji's office, opened the door, and walked to the safe with a small flashlight in his hand. When his hand touched the safe, the little spinner over there who was connected to the safe had already noticed it. Master, Master, someone touched the safe, the little turtle shouted, waking up Huo Yingji who was sleeping. Huo Yingji was sleeping soundly. When he heard this, he immediately sat up. When the little spin turtle saw its owner wake up, it transferred the image within 1 meter of the safe to Huo Yingji's mind. Huo Yingji frowned. This figure looked familiar. But now he could only see the back of the man, and the front was blocked by the safe. He didn't see the face, so he wasn't sure. This safe has become a veritable safe that no one can open except him and the little spin turtle. Sure enough, the man took out the tools he had prepared before and started trying to open the safe, but he tried several times without success. The man looked at the time on his wrist and saw that there were only 2 minutes until the next wave of inspections. He decided to try again. Still can't open. In order not to be discovered, that person chose to leave and continue the night after tomorrow. He didn't realize it yet, but the safe was the bait in the big net, just waiting for the fish to get into it. Huo Yingjia's office is monitored 24 hours a day with binoculars. It would be nice if we could know what's going on in his mind, Huo Yingjia whispered. In this case, he could know whether this person was online or offline in the institute. He hopes that there will be a stable environment in the institute. Not just externally, but internally as well. The existence of spies is more destructive than external pressure. At the same time, Huo Yingjia was also worried that this person was using counterintuitive tactics to frame good people in the institute and protect his companions. This will mislead the sensitive director Hua. In special times, I would rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let one go. After hearing this, the little spinner's eyes lit up and he said, "That's touching the safe. I can read his memory." "Then hurry up." Huo Yingjia was overjoyed, read out all his memories, not missing a word. At this time, Huo Yingjia didn't even bother to ask how the little turtle had such magical powers. In just a few seconds, the little turtle had read that person's memory. "Okay," said the little spin turtle, "I will transmit it to the master in a moment." "Great," Huo Yingjia was overjoyed. The little turtle was so awesome and helped him unexpectedly. Is this God's reward for the countless good deeds he did in his previous life? At this moment, the man turned and left, and Huo Yingjia finally saw the man's appearance clearly. It's him. You guessed it right, it's him. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Huo Yingjia wouldn't have believed that this man was a spy and traitor. The man quietly opened the door, and when he got to the corridor, he straightened up as he usually did when patrolling, but when he turned the corner, 4 people walked towards him and appeared in front of him. He turned around and wanted to run away, but 4 people came behind him and caught him directly. Realizing that he was in danger, he chose to bite his tongue and commit suicide. However, the speed was slower, and one of them directly removed the man's jaw. 6th update, please reward me and please subscribe. Oh.